Hello, everyone. I'm Shalini Devan, and welcome to my talk show. Today's topic is: does literacy necessarily bring in responsibilities? Do our certificates or our degrees make us responsible, or is it our values or our mindset that makes a difference? So, to talk on this further, let me welcome our guests today. We have with us Brigadier Vinod Datta, who's the CEO with the Career Navigators, and we have Ms. Vagisha Jain, who's an entrepreneur, teacher, author, writer. So, welcome both of you to the talk show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
And it's always a pleasure having you, Brigadier Datta. So, to talk on this topic, I think it's a very social responsibility for all of us to act in a particular way. So, what do you have to say about this?
Well, Shalini, it is always a pleasure, to be on your talk show. And they not only add value, but they also have a lot of substance. Uh,
Thank
you see, education is one thing. We have seen that the entire meaning of education has totally undergone a change. If you go back in ancient times, we used to always talk about Jayatu Gurukulam, Jayatu Bharatam.
Yes.
And the Gurukul concept of education was one of the best. And that's why India was called Vishwaguru. We can boast of having the oldest universities in the world. People from all over the globe used to come and get educated. Even the royalty members, if you go back to Mahabharata or Ramayana period, you will realize that yes, even the best of the kings, the best of the princes, they used to leave their royal palaces and go to gurukuls. So
Yes.
that kind of education, and I blame Britishers squarely for destroying the Indian education system. And Lord
I
Tolstoy
completely
has,
second you with
yeah,
this.
they have already written that if you want to destroy a nation, you don't have to do anything. You have to destroy the education system.
And
And
their
it is well
culture.
documented. Yeah.
Yeah, very true. No, but what I, what is coming around is at the pandemic, especially we saw people are getting slightly, over the top. In a sense, everybody is acting in a very aggressive way at times. And why is it happening? We are all literate. So why are we acting like literate illiterates? I mean, why is it happening? Is it our mindset? Because all of us, have been through the school education. We have, attained so many of our positions, degrees. We have piles of certificates with us. But then why don't we act like human? Why is it happening?
Okay. So is it addressed to me,
Yes,
Shalini?
please. Yes, yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's a very pertinent question you have raised, Shalini. Uh, you see, getting educated doesn't mean that you will have those social grace, manners, etiquettes, soft skills. You see, even UNICEF had reiterated this point that the life skills, the soft skills, they have to be mastered. I mean, I may
Yes.
have a whole lot of degrees, but I may be, as you rightly said, I may be illiterate. Because if I cannot live in a society, if I cannot follow the nuances of society, if I don't follow a self-regulation on me, I'm useless. I'm like an animal. And if we are behaving in such a manner, we are showing, unwanted aggressiveness. We are showing, unwanted, kind of behavior which is avoidable. And if we are showing a poor opulence in public, I mean, it is to be condemned. So people have to be educated. They don't have to have those kind of degrees, but people have to be educated. They have to be told. That's why, I come from an army background. And I'll tell you, when we select an army officer for the Indian Army, we keep him for 6 days in our premises. And we
Mhm.
test him on 14 tests,
Okay.
which includes, how he behaves in a team, how he behaves in a group, what are his social factors, what is his social adaptability, and all these things are checked. Because if you cannot work in a group, if you cannot work in a team, you see, individual brilliance has no meaning if you are not a team member.
Absolutely.
So when I refer to team, I mean that the social engagement, social interaction is of greater importance than being educated. You will find, padhe likhe log behaving in such a manner. I mean, they behave worse than the people who are staying in, jhopri or juggi clusters. And
Exactly right.
sometimes those people, they give you certain lessons of life.
I totally agree.
Very true.
No, actually, guys, this triggered to me, because what happened was a few days back, we'd just gone to the gym. And there was this, I should admit, this is just, this lady came with her trainer. She was, and, she's not wearing a mask. So, when we asked her to wear a mask because it's a public place, she said, look, I'm a doctor. You don't need to tell me. But I feel being a doctor, you need to be more responsible. So this is the thought which triggered to me at that time that, you being a doctor, why are you behaving, just like, any person who has just not been to a school or who's just out of a jungle? I mean, like, you need to understand that you're in
Very
a
true.
public place. There are a lot of people around. So it becomes your duty and your responsibility to be a little careful and, be at par with everybody. So this topic actually triggered just a few days back when it happened with me. So Vagisha, we switch it over to you. What do you have to say about this?
Sure. First of all, Shalini ma'am, thank you so much. You invited me to this talk show, and I'm really obliged. I have been waiting for so long that I'll come here and I'll express my thoughts. And the topic is really that I relate to. Being an educationist, I have been into education for a very long time period, and or I have always seen that kids are educated. They are they learn things, they cram things, but still somehow they are lacking somewhere, that they are not even able to manage themselves. That is the reason in these days there are so many things happening. People are committing suicide, and even at a very smaller level, even kids are not able to manage themselves. So this makes me think that responsibility comes at very level many levels. Like it comes at your social level, it comes at your personal level and towards your family, and also it comes at your towards your nature and surroundings. So
Absolutely.
though even we all are studying, we all are being more literate and educated, still we all see what we all have done to the nature. We have not even
Absolutely.
fulfilled our responsibility towards nature, and we have deteriorated it so much. Pura matlab, this COVID situation is also because of that thing only. And even as it has come, still we are not understanding that
No,
how
I
we need to
totally
be
agree with
responsible
you.
towards our
And in
environment.
spite of this, that COVID has taught us, it's like a pause button to us. It has taught us that, where we were going wrong. But still, I feel, once the lockdowns are open, everybody behaves like, there's nothing around. I mean, you have not even learned anything out
Right.
of COVID. You've not learned out of pandemic how much it's been bad for the entire world and for the human race. And it's really sad. So it is, it's something that a responsibility comes. I mean, I always say that you might go to school, you might have a 2 degrees less with you, but you need to have moral values. You need to have some responsibility towards everything, be it society, people, your neighbors, your peers, your family, as you said, Vagisha. But I don't understand why this basic thing is not inculcated into us. Why, a social, we have a civics period when we are there as kids, but that's the most thinnest of all the books. Why?
Uh,
I mean, I think it should be the prime thing that should be taught. Yes, yes, sir.
yeah, Shalini, I agree with you. You see, in good old days when I was studying in a college, and I'm talking of college, mind you, we used to have on Mondays and Thursdays the moral and religious education classes. And it was mandatory and imperative on us that we should have a 75% of attendance and 75% of score before we were allowed to write any exam. So what is required these days is that even the 21st century pedagogy says that we must have life skills. We must teach children the soft skills. though these words have, or these terminologies have come into currency of late.
Yes.
But yes, I mean, they are not nuclear physics. They were there. Like
Yes.
these were passed on from mother to daughter, father to son, from teacher to the taught. But unfortunately, we have been taught all these things in school. But our aggressiveness, our profound thinking, our arrogance, whether it is professional or personal, it
Yes.
overtakes us. It takes better of us, and we forget. And little realizing, you see, if you see, I'll tell you, the best HR policy in the country, and I would say in the world, is of Tata's. You see,
Okay.
how they select their people? They go to these satellite stations. They are not looking at metros. They go and talk to their teachers. They go and talk to their neighbors. They go and talk to their friends. And then they pick up the people. Yeah. So it is basically, and similar thing I was telling you in the army. Like, like you're taking my interview for 30 minutes or whatever. In 30 minutes, I'm going to impress you in such a manner that Shalini is going to say, oh, Brigadier Datta, oh, he's a wonderful person. The moment I come and stay with you for 6 days, you will realize that this guy doesn't have any social, he doesn't have a social grace, he doesn't have any etiquettes, he doesn't have table manners, he doesn't know how to use washroom, he doesn't have toilet manners. And you are going to say, okay, there's nobody bigger clown than him. So what is required is that we must have these kind of assessments before we qualify, or before we put that tiara on your head. Sometimes, it is your position, it is your rank, it is your status in the society that speaks, not you.
Absolutely.
So people have to be told. They have to be told that you have to be humble. You see, once Guru Nanak Dev was asked, he says, why do you sit on ground? You are such a big prophet and such a big saint. And he very rightly said, कि ये वो मुकद्दस जगह है जहां से मुझे कोई गिरा नहीं सकता. See, the greatness of that person. So this is how we must learn.
I mean, this is so right. And some time back I was watching this beautiful video all the way from Japan, where they were in the schools. The little children are made to clean their classrooms, their washrooms, and then attend to their schooling. So I don't say it's only the schools, it is also at homes that we have to teach our children the responsibility that they have towards your home and the school and everything. And plus, how you need to conduct with the people who are working as your staff. I think that is one thing which is missing out so much. Like the people who are working with you, I always personally feel that they are leaving their homes and coming to us. They are here to earn a living. So all we can do is just be good to them, just be kind to them. It's not that, I mean, if they're coming here to work, you treat them or you ill-treat them, or you say bad words to them. It's these are the things that we should need to teach our children. And that is how, once they see at homes, that this is how my parents conduct with people, whom they're working, for people who are working with them, or their neighbors, or the people who come to them. So this is how they will conduct themselves when they go out in public. So a home and a school both needs to work simultaneously on creating a personality for the children who will be, when they go out in a bigger world, they will be applauded for. So Vagisha, what do you have to say about this?
I totally agree with you, Shalini ma'am, because I have been into a Japanese company where we used to teach kids who were from Japan also. So I have seen how humble they were, and they used to follow each and everything in a very systematic manner. So जब भी उन्हें पढ़ाना होता था, we were always very relaxed and calm that these kids will listen to us in comparison to other kids, because there is a reason behind that. As you told, in the beginning, in the initial years, like say 4, 5, 6 years of their life, initial 5 years, they devote particularly to develop life skills. As
Yes.
Mr. Datta has also said that life skills are very important, so they particularly work on that. And once it's inculcated into the kids, then it's very difficult to for kids to leave them, because even if if we will even think of doing something wrong to somebody, our consciousness will say us so many times that no, you cannot do this, you cannot do that, because that's how
Yes.
upbringing has affected us. So that is
Absolutely.
there it's a rule that all the kids have to go through that particular model. And that's why we talk about corruption in Japan. That is even one of the reports I saw on Discovery, so that was like 0.02% corruption rate was there. And
Wow.
in our country we can definitely say about
Let's not talk about
corruption.
you have the corruption rate here.
So they were saying
Yes.
earlier it was less in Japan, and after increasing it reached to 0.02%. And I was totally amazed to see that. And secondly,
Absolutely.
as Mr. Datta has talked about life skills in schools. So the biggest life skills book that I believe in our system is Gita. So that is something like, even some Western countries have adopted that, and they are teaching Gita to their students in schools or universities, and they have made it a compulsory thing that they have to do it. But that thing is not still there in India, and I believe if there is something like that will be made compulsory for students, not only in their school but after school as well, in their college, when they are doing their graduation or post graduation, when it will be a continuous factor, then they will not even forget what they are learning.
Absolutely
And
right. It's so sad to see, that this is all evolving in our own country, and we have forgotten our
exactly,
culture, we've forgotten our heritage, we've forgotten our values, our system, and then when it goes to the West, we retake it, when it comes from the West. I don't know why we have to follow West so much. Why can't we pride in our own culture? Why can't we learn from our own history? Why can't we, we have such beautiful scriptures, we have gurus, we have so many eminent people here. Why don't we listen to them? Why everything has to circle down from the West and enter our country to actually listen to it? I mean, it's a very sad situation, and it is only possible is when the teachers and the parents, again I'll say, work on the children right in the beginning to make sure that they take pride in their own country. That is important. When you don't take pride into thing where you're staying or the place or your environment, then I'm sorry, nothing can help you. As many you may be having, say, 100 PhD degrees with you, but if you're not a good human being, I think it doesn't make a difference. So I mean, so what do you guys have to say about this?
Well, Shalini, I agree with you, and what Vikisha Jain had already brought out, that it is not the degrees. You see, it is not what kind of tags you are wearing in terms of degrees. You see, degrees are nothing. People are there are 352 million students in the world. India contributes 52% of them, and in every field there is a university in India. If you travel from Delhi to Agra or Delhi Chandigarh, everybody has opened a university. But what are
Yes.
we doing? We are only churning out these students, but we are not making them good citizens. Like what you have already stated, that we are obedient by nature. We know how to achieve goals, but we never teach our children that what should be how to set goals. We
Right.
don't tell them. We don't tell them how to question these goals. And the moment you start questioning them, people think that yes, आप एक किसी किस्म की बगावत कर रहे हैं, which is totally unacceptable.
very true.
What Vigisha has already told. Yesterday only, I finished a soft skill course for New Zealand and Fiji students. And
Okay.
you will be surprised to know, Shalini, that the kind of interest they took, the kind of facts they gave. I mean, some of the facts were even, they were news to me. So
Uh-huh.
what she's saying is right. The कहते हैं ना कि गैरों से सुना तुमने, गैरों से कहा तुमने, कुछ हमसे कहा होता, कुछ हमसे सुना होता.
Right.
anything which is packaged so well, we start. You see, we never teach our kids about yoga, which is such a thing. I mean, you yourself, you are a fitness freak. You are absolutely, you are as fit as a soldier. But we don't teach them about physical health, about mental health. You have already brought out. We never teach them about financial literacy. We keep telling them that you have to crack an exam, get into IIT or NEET and all these kind of things. See, why don't you tell them that you can have your own business instead of getting a job? You can be a job giver.
Yes.
All these factors have to be told to our kids. We never talk of creative thinking. What you have already brought out. Even Miss Jain has also brought out. So these are the things we must ask our children to question. This critical thinking. Then we should also talk about emotional and mental stress. We never teach our children in school that anger, criticism, jealousy, वो 9 रस होते हैं ना जिंदगी में,
बिल्कुल,
तो उनके बारे में हम बताते ही नहीं है, क्योंकि वो हिंदी की किताबों में महदूद रह के रह गया है. And anything which comes from West, we say, oh, nothing like it. This is the only flavor of the day. So what we require is that we must educate our children. We must tell them the basics. And if you do not teach them, if you teach them in school, Shalini, that anger management, you see, jealousy, it is but natural.
Yes.
Aggressiveness. If you tell them how to control them, how to manage stress. People don't want to spend even paltry amount of 400-500 rupees. There are so many courses people are doing, and we will pamper our child with a pizza and a Coke of 1,000 to 200 bucks.
Yes.
So what we have not learned, it is high time that we must give it back to the society or to our kids, so that they become better citizens.
Absolutely. And what I feel is, as we're talking about, the kids, managing their anger, it is so important because, if we don't, what happens is when, we see a child aggressive, we are, always there to punish the child of not doing, instead of, spending some time and telling the child to behave in a particular way, and why, behaving in a particular way will win him more friends and win him more appreciation from his fellow beings. We punish the child by making him stand outside the class. This, this is again adding to the aggressiveness. And when it goes back, he says, okay, मैं भी teacher को देख लूँगा, मैं भी बच्चों को देख लूँगा. I mean, this is what things, and then when he goes back to home, and he tells his parents about it, and the parents get angry. How dare you, teacher, do this? How dare your student, your fellow beings do this? Instead of saying, telling your child that this is where you were wrong and this is how you should be. And if you're not even wrong, make sure that the person who's wrong, try to help out that person manage himself. So we are not teaching anything like this. All we are teaching is how dare you. And this how dare you word is so difficult because it, builds up over the time, and then it takes such a big form that at times it's very difficult to control. So, and and when you said, one thing that I wanted to say was, बहुत छोटी सी चीज है, एक हम हल्दी का दूध पीते थे, जो हमारे पेरेंट्स, हमारी ग्रैंड मदर्स के, अब वो हो गया turmeric latte. And when it's turmeric latte, everybody wants to have it. They are paying, say $500 for it, but it's turmeric latte. It's not haldi ka doodh. So I think why from the West are we taking so much? It's really sad. So Magisha, now we hear from you. That what do you have to say about this?
Yes, after listening to you, I would like to say that we are teaching our kids negative responsibility. Instead, how dare you? So it's not positive responsibility we are teaching negative responsibility, that whenever anything happens, you are always going to be angry for that particular thing, be jealous, or have negative feelings inside you. And that is one of the reasons that we are not able to reach anywhere. So jo bacche hain wahi bacche kal ko, everybody knows that they are going to form the society where we are living. And that is the reason that the number of old age homes, they have increased. Nuclear families have increased.
Yes.
So everything is, they don't see that eventually all the things will come back to them only. So they
That's
will,
yeah, carry on.
yeah, so they will be away from their own kids. And even as I told in the beginning, that it kind of fills the brains of kids with negative thoughts and negative mentality, which is not even good for them in the near future. So this is what I wanted to say.
No, absolutely. And I always feel, it's a life is a full circle. What you do today always comes back to you. So, people think that, I can get away with things, but no, you cannot get away. It will come back to you in some form or the other.
Right.
And these are the basic things, actually leading a life is not very difficult. It's actually very simple. It's just that if we just, manage our brain, we manage our mindset, we manage our thoughts, and life is not difficult, and manage our actions towards people. It's not difficult at all. At times, even though I have calmed down over the time, I was a little short tempered, but I'm trying to, calm down, and I have calmed down over the time. But because then I felt, that this way of or this behavior is not right, whether you're right or you're wrong. But this behavior cannot be conducted in public, and we have to make sure. So that is why I say, every day is a new day. We need to learn from our past, and every day we need to actually make sure that we become a better person each day. And that is these basic things, if we, I think, inculcate in our life, it's going to be very simple, and the society as a whole will come out to be a beautiful society we always dream of. So it's before we end our discussion, we would just like each of you to just give a few quotes, and then we get over with it. So Brigadier Datta, you can start with that.
Shalini, I would like to just give a bottom line or a punch line, if you call it.
Yes.
जिंदगी को मैंने कुछ इस कदर आसान कर दिया, जिंदगी को मैंने कुछ इस कदर आसान कर दिया, किसी से माफी मांग ली, किसी को माफ कर दिया. So if you follow this punch line, if you follow this kind of theory or kind of peaceful coexistence, I'm sure you are going to get rich dividends, because you don't get small if you apologize to somebody, or if sometimes it has happened. I have broken sometimes traffic rules, and the other guy, because he has the right on the road, and I've been seeking an entry on the main road, and I could not notice it. I literally apologized to that person, and he was giving me those dirty looks. So I told him, "Mega, the fault is mine. I admit."
Right.
And the guy had a good ego massage, and he went happy.
Right. Absolutely. Perfect. So Vakisha, what is your punchline?
So as Mr. Datta initially also told, that we need to believe in gurus, and that is what even I believe, that it is the time now to go from teachers towards gurus. So we need both gurus as well as good students. So I'll say Gurur Devo Gurur Brahma Gurur Maheshwara. So if everybody will follow this thing, students will also start loving their teachers, their gurus, and जो guru हैं वो भी ज़्यादा responsible हो जाएंगे towards the students.
No, absolutely. And I always believe is that, we should always be a learner, because it's never, every stage we learn, every minute we learn, and it's always, and at times we need to unlearn and learn. So it's not a problem. We can unlearn a lot of things that we were doing wrong, and we can learn a lot of things that are going wrong. And there is no problem, because we have to go down from our ego and be better human beings. And I think that is the call of the day. And thank you so much. It was a lovely session. And plus, I'll request both of you that we need to take up another session of soft skills. If both of you are agreeing to it, we will definitely take up soon and take it forward from this. Perfect. Well, thank you so much. It was really lovely having both of you. Thank you.
Same here. Thank you so much.